The desert air crackled with despair, a heavy weight that seemed to press down on the very souls of the Israelites. Gone was the initial euphoria of escaping Egypt, replaced by a deep-seated weariness that clung to them like the dust of the desert. The Israelites, weary from their journey, were now a chorus of discontent, their voices rising in a symphony of complaints and grievances. Their cries, sharp and accusing, pierced the heart of the desert, echoing off the barren landscape and reverberating in the hearts of their leaders.
We yearn for the comfort of familiarity, even if it means returning to the shackles of slavery. The known hardships of Egypt seem preferable to the unknown trials of this vast wilderness. Egypt, with its predictable routines and guaranteed meals, seems a paradise compared to this present hardship. The memories of fish, cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic haunt our thoughts. The taste of freedom has turned bitter in our mouths, a freedom that comes with the price of uncertainty and relentless wandering. We have traded one form of captivity for another, or so it seems. The chains of Egypt were tangible, but the chains of the desert are forged from fear and doubt.
The promised land, with its milk and honey, felt like a cruel mirage, always just out of reach, a tantalizing vision that seemed to mock their suffering. Their faith, once a burning torch, flickered precariously in the winds of doubt and fear. Each step forward seemed to dim the light of hope. They had witnessed the mighty hand of God, parting the Red Sea and raining down manna from heaven. These miracles were etched in their memories, yet the present suffering clouded their vision, yet they allowed their present suffering to eclipse the memory of those miracles. The daily grind of survival in the desert overshadowed the divine interventions they had experienced.
Our hearts, hardened by fear, can no longer embrace the promises of God. The weight of our doubts and the harshness of our journey have made us forget His assurances. Our cries echo through the camp, a testament to our wavering faith. Each lament is a cry for help, a plea for reassurance in this desolate place. We have forgotten the sting of the whip, the crushing weight of oppression. The memories of our suffering in Egypt have faded, replaced by the immediate discomforts of the desert. All we can see is the vastness of the desert, a symbol of our seemingly insurmountable challenges. The endless expanse mirrors our endless doubts and fears.
Their cries were a plea for security, a longing for the familiar, even if it meant returning to the chains they had so recently broken free from. The uncertainty of freedom weighed heavily on their spirits. The desert, once a symbol of their liberation, now felt like a prison. The vast openness that once promised freedom now seemed to close in on them, a barren cage. Their cries were a lament for lost comfort, a yearning for a past that in reality held no true freedom. The harshness of their current reality made the past seem deceptively appealing. They had tasted freedom, but its flavor was unfamiliar, unsettling. The sweetness of liberty was tainted by the bitterness of uncertainty and hardship. They longed for the predictable rhythms of slavery, for the comfort of knowing their place, even if it meant sacrificing their newfound liberty. The routine of bondage seemed a small price to pay for the security it offered. As they reflected on their journey, the cost of freedom weighed heavily on their minds. The price of liberty was steep, and the path to the promised land was fraught with trials and tribulations. Yet amidst the despair, some still looked towards the horizon, searching for a glimmer of hope. The promise of a better future, though distant, kept a flicker of faith alive in their hearts. In their moments of weakness, they gathered together, finding strength in unity. The bonds of community provided a semblance of comfort and a reminder that they were not alone in their struggle. They prayed, seeking guidance and strength from the divine. Their prayers were a testament to their enduring faith, a plea for the courage to continue their journey. With renewed determination, they moved forward, each step a testament to their resilience. The journey was arduous, but the hope of the promised land spurred them on. Amidst the trials, they found moments of joy and hope. These fleeting moments were a reminder of the promise that lay ahead, a beacon guiding them through the desert. They embraced the journey despite the hardships. The path was difficult, but the promise of a land flowing with milk and honey gave them the strength to persevere. United in their quest for the promised land, the Israelites pressed on. Their journey was a testament to the enduring human spirit, a story of faith, resilience, and the unyielding pursuit of a better future. The Israelites' complaints were not mere whispers of discontent, they were a symphony of rebellion. Each grumble, each muttered accusation chipped away at the fragile peace of the camp. Their words, sharp as shards of glass, cut deep into the hearts of their leaders. The air was thick with tension, a palpable sense of unrest that seemed to grow with each passing day.
We have forgotten the plagues that ravaged Egypt. The cries of our oppressors turned to dust. Our discontent is a contagious disease, spreading like wildfire through the ranks. We question Moses' leadership, accusing him of leading us into a desolate wasteland. Our memories, clouded by fear and hunger, paint a distorted picture of the past. We remember Egypt not as a place of suffering, but as a land of plenty, where food and water were abundant.
They romanticized their time in Egypt, conveniently forgetting the bitterness of their enslavement. Their complaints were a testament to their spiritual amnesia. They had witnessed the power of God firsthand, yet they chose to focus on their present discomfort. The miracles they had seen, the parting of the Red Sea, the manna from heaven, all seemed to fade in the harsh light of their current struggles.
Our faith, once a mighty fortress, lies in ruins, eroded by doubt and ingratitude. We have traded the promises of God for a bowl of lentils, our spiritual hunger masked by our physical cravings. The desert echoes with our discontent, a constant reminder of our wavering faith. We are like a ship lost at sea, our compass broken, our destination unclear.
Their complaints were a slap in the face of God's grace, a rejection of His provision. They had forgotten that they were not just on a journey to a physical destination, but also on a pilgrimage of faith. Their grumbling was a betrayal of that sacred journey, a testament to their spiritual blindness. In their hearts, they had already turned back to Egypt, longing for the false security of their chains. Yet even in their discontent, there was a glimmer of hope. A hope that perhaps one day they would find their way back to faith, back to the promises that had been made to them. And Moses, despite the weight of their accusations, stood firm. He knew that the journey was not just about reaching the promised land, but about transforming a people, shaping their faith and teaching them to trust in God's plan. The path ahead was long and fraught with challenges, but it was also a path of growth, of learning, and of becoming a people worthy of the promises they had been given. In the end, it was not just about the destination, but about the journey itself and the lessons learned along the way. The weight of the Israelites' rebellion fell heavily upon Moses and Aaron. They could feel the burden of their people's discontent pressing down on their shoulders, a weight that seemed to grow heavier with each passing day. Their hearts ached for their people, their spirits crushed by the constant barrage of complaints. Every grievance, every murmur of discontent was like a dagger to their hearts, reminding them of the immense responsibility they bore. They had led them out of Egypt, their hands stained with the blood of the Passover lamb, a symbol of God's deliverance. The memory of that night, the cries of the firstborn and the hurried departure from Egypt were etched in their minds. Yet here they stood, accused and vilified by the very people they had risked everything to save. The ingratitude of the Israelites was a bitter pill to swallow, a stark contrast to the hope and faith that had once driven their mission.
I have spoken face to face with God, yet I find myself speechless in the face of such overwhelming despair. The words that once flowed so easily now seemed trapped in my throat, choked by the weight of our people's suffering.
His brother Aaron, the eloquent spokesman, struggled to find words that could penetrate the wall of their hardened hearts. The eloquence that had once swayed Pharaoh now seemed powerless against the stubbornness of their own people.
Our authority, once unquestioned, is now openly challenged. The people who once followed us with unwavering faith now question every decision, every command. The people, blinded by their misery, fail to see the toll their rebellion is taking on us. Each act of defiance, each word of dissent chips away at our resolve, leaving us weary and disheartened.
The burden of leadership felt unbearable. The weight of their expectations, their demands, and their constant dissatisfaction was a heavy load to bear. Moses, accustomed to communing with God on the mountaintop, now found himself mired in the mire of human discontent. The contrast between the divine presence and the human turmoil was stark and jarring. His heart yearned for the solace of the divine presence, for guidance in the face of such overwhelming opposition. In the quiet moments, he sought the voice of God, hoping for a word of encouragement, a sign of direction.
Each accusation, each doubt is a blow to my soul, The trust that once bound us together now seems fragile, shattered by the weight of their discontent. Ours is a thankless task, leading a people who seem determined to cling to their misery. Despite our best efforts, their hearts remain hardened, their spirits unyielding.
Yet, amidst the storm of discontent, their faith in God remained unshaken. They knew that their mission was divinely ordained and that their strength came from a higher power. They knew that their strength came not from the fickle approval of the people, but from the unwavering faithfulness of the Almighty. In the darkest moments, they looked to the heavens, seeking the strength to carry on. But from the unwavering faithfulness of the Almighty, their trust in God was their anchor, their source of hope and resilience. Their trust was in God, not in their own ability to appease the restless masses. In prayer, they found the strength to continue, the courage to face another day, and the wisdom to lead their people through the wilderness. Amidst the deafening chorus of discontent, two voices rose in defiance. Joshua and Caleb, their spirits undaunted, stood as beacons of hope in the face of overwhelming despair. They had seen the promised land, tasted its fruits, and felt the embrace of its fertile soil. Their hearts overflowed with faith, their eyes fixed firmly on the promises of God.
We have seen a land flowing with milk and honey, a land where our children will thrive and our enemies will fall before us.
Their words, imbued with the conviction of their faith, cut through the fog of fear that had enveloped the camp.
Remember God's faithfulness, His power to deliver us from any obstacle? Our courage must be contagious, a spark of hope in the darkness of despair.
They refused to be swayed by the tide of negativity, choosing instead to stand firm on the promises of God. They knew that their inheritance awaited them, not as a reward for their own merit, but as a gift of God's grace.
Though our voices are outnumbered, they resonate with truth and conviction. We dare to believe, to hope, to trust in the God who has brought us this far.
Their faith was a testament to the power of God's promises to sustain and empower His people, even in the face of overwhelming odds.